I want to tell you about the moment I stopped pretending to be okay. This moment wasn't special because it was dramatic or because my story was unique. People stop pretending to be okay all the time. What happened after is the real thing I want to talk about. It was something I didn't expect. It changed things in ways I'm still trying to understand. I think what happened afterward is more interesting and more useful than the story of the pretending itself. This pretending had been going on for a long time. I'd gotten so used to it that I didn't even realize I was pretending. It just felt like this was my real personality. That's the thing about pretending to be okay for a long time. After a while, it stops feeling like pretending, it starts feeling like reality. That okay persona had become my most used persona. It was the one that showed up everywhere and got the job done. Underneath this persona was another one that I didn't let out. I wasn't deliberately trying to suppress it. The okay persona had simply taken over. The other one had stepped aside. I knew my other self was still there. It's hard to describe this without it sounding like I was doing it deliberately. I was aware of my feelings. Sometimes I'd check in on them the way you check on something you've put away in storage. I'd see that it was still there. Then I'd go back to the okay persona. The okay persona was what people needed from me. It was what I thought I should be. I was going to get through this without my feelings. The moment I stopped pretending isn't the important part. What matters is what happened after. I'm still trying to understand the changes that took place at that time. I think talking about what happened after I stopped pretending matters more than the pretending itself. The pretending was just a something I did to get by. It wasn't special or unique. What happened after actually means something. The moment I stopped pretending wasn't due to any single reason. I'd expected it would be like that. I thought something big would happen. That it would just happen like that. It didn't happen that way. It happened more quietly. It took more time. It felt like something had been accumulating for a long while. Then it just stopped. There was no reason for it. It was just that I'd been pretending for so long that it had become too difficult. I was doing something and then suddenly I wasn't okay anymore. I wasn't pretending to be okay. The difference between the two things just disappeared. I didn't do this deliberately. Even if I'd wanted to, I couldn't have changed it. What happened next wasn't what I'd expected. I thought I'd feel worse. That didn't happen. I felt relief. It was a strange feeling. I felt it in my body before I thought it. It was as if something had been tense for a long time. Then it just loosened. I'd gotten so used to feeling that way that I didn't even notice it. When it stopped, I felt strange. It felt like I didn't know what to do. I'd held myself together in a particular way for so long that when I stopped, it felt like losing something. I sat for a while with the feeling of not being okay. I didn't try to change it or make it go away, I just let it be. What I found was that it wasn't as bad as I'd thought. This was the truth. This was what I was actually feeling. Truth isn't always easy to deal with, but it's better than pretending. When I was pretending, I had to use a lot of energy to keep it up. I had to constantly make sure I was presenting myself in a certain way. Because of this, there was nothing left for other things. I didn't have much energy left for anything else. I wasn't very present in my own life. When I stopped pretending, that energy came back. My life changed. I'm still feeling these changes. I was afraid to stop pretending because I thought it would be hard to handle. That didn't happen. Truth isn't as terrifying as pretending. When I was pretending, there was always this worry that someone would find out. There was always this worry that I wouldn't be able to keep it up. When I stopped pretending, I didn't have that worry anymore. I could just be myself. It was a relief. The thing I was afraid of wasn't as bad as I'd imagined. It was just me. It was just what I was feeling. I could deal with it. I could handle the truth. I could just be myself. This changed everything. I was no longer pretending to be something I wasn't. I was just me. And that was okay. The people around me noticed, some of them, not necessarily because I told them what had happened, but because the version of me that showed up after that moment was different in ways that are hard to name but that are visible to people who pay attention. And there was a lack of that certain controlled distance I maintain while performing the okay persona, a lack of that particular kind of composure that comes from actively managing something, and in its place was something I can only call real presence, the presence of actually being in the moment rather than being in the moment while also being in that inner room where you're managing the thing you're handling. And some people responded to this shift in ways that opened up things between us that had been somewhat closed, conversations that had never gone anywhere before, a kind of connection that couldn't exist while I was wearing my more managed persona. And now I understand that the managed version of OK kept a distance between me and the people around me that I couldn't fully see while I was living inside it. After this, everything changed is a sentence that can mean many things, and I want to be specific about what I mean by it because I don't mean that my life changed dramatically on the outside. Circumstances didn't change, and the things that were difficult didn't become easy. What changed was something far more internal, my relationship with my own life experience, the extent to which I was actually inside my life versus managing it from a slight distance. And the difference between these two ways is huge, even if it's not visible from the outside, even if nothing changes in the visible facts of the circumstances when you move from the managed persona to the present one. Because what changes is the standard of everything, the texture of ordinary moments, the availability of real feeling in the actual present rather than in the carefully managed doses that pretending to be okay allows. It's that particular kind of life most of us are chasing when we're honest about what we want from our time, not the absence of difficulty, but a real encounter with the experience of one's difficulty instead of the managed performance that everything is under control. I'm still not okay in the ordinary sense, and I want to say this clearly because I think the honest version of this story needs it. The result of stopping the pretending wasn't becoming okay. The result was something more honest than okay. A version of not being okay that I'm genuinely in relationship with rather than the version of okay I was performing for everyone including myself. And the not okay I'm genuinely in relationship with is something I can work with, something I can build alongside, and something in which I can find meaning, whereas the okay I was performing blocked me from all of these things because maintaining it required so much from me that nothing was left for anything else. I stopped pretending to be okay, and what happened after was that I began truly living in my life again, which isn't the dramatic transformation this title might suggest. It isn't something that would seem important from the outside, but internally it was the most important thing that had happened to me in a long time, maybe the most important thing in a very long time. And I'm telling you about it now, not because I think my experience is unique or because I think I handled it very well. I didn't handle it very well. I simply eventually stopped managing it, and that turned out to be exactly what was needed. And if any part of this can be useful to someone else, maybe it's exactly that part, that not handling it well, that not shaping it into something, just running out of the energy to keep up the pretense and discovering that what was underneath wasn't the monster you were afraid of, but simply the truth. And the truth, as it turns out, is something most of us can actually live with once we stop using all our energy to keep it at a distance.